All praise and thanks due to Allah, and peace and blessing to Prophet Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace on to you. Inshallah, I will go through our agenda today. We have here our Governor and Lieutenant Governor, Tim Walts and Barry Flanagan. Welcome and thank you for coming. I'm Sheikh Hassan Jama. I'm going to facilitate this meeting today. Inshallah, our agenda today, I will speak a few minutes to highlight why we're here tonight. Then I will call Imam Muhammad Mursal to do the faith grounding. We have very tight schedule, so I hope all of us will follow that schedule. Then I will welcome Abdul Rashid Abdi, our host, and Nimko Ahmed to talk about who's behind this beautiful gathering today. Then we have a couple of agendas to discuss with our elected officials, such as opioid crisis, education, economic environment. Then we will give space our elected officials to reflect and to answer our call. Then we'll close the meeting on time. So I would like to call right now to start as a tradition and to place our gathering Imam Muhammad Mursal Al-Ihsan Imam and the Chair of Islamic Association of North America, Ayana. Welcome, Imam Muhammad.
First of all, I would like to thank our Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for being here and with us. It's not the first time we meet, and it will not be the last one. Also, I would like to thank Somali American Coalition who put this event organized. Thank you so much. We appreciate your efforts and your hard work, so thank you so much. My name is Imam Muhammad Mursal. I'm the Imam of Masjid Al-Ihsan Islamic Center of St. Paul, Minnesota. Also, I'm the board chair of Ayana, Islamic Association of North America. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُولَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعْهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, we send messengers such Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be them, all of them, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent all the messengers to convey the message of justice and al-adala. If someone pays close attention to the Holy Quran, will find that the major themes of the Quran include God consciousness, fairness, equity, justice, equality, and balance in all our dealings. All the scriptures accentuate that theme of serving people and promote justice and equality. Honorable Governor and Lieutenant Governor, I remember your slogan of One Minnesota during the election, that Minnesota serves all people so we can build a better Minnesota for all. That's why the Somali American Coalition exists, who primary goal is to engage the community, enhance the quality of life of all Minnesotans, particularly the underserved community, including Somalis. Honorable Governor and Lieutenant Governor, Somali community is going through challenges and difficulties that needs your attention. I don't think I am exaggerating if I say Somali community in Minnesota is going one of its toughest time in history. As an imam, I deal on a daily basis. I see a single mom that lost her son because of gun violence or drug abuse. I will let my colleagues to elaborate more about the needs and issues of Somali community. Thank you, our governor. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and thank you all. Jazakumullah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Welcome, Governor Walts, Lieutenant Flanagan. It's my honor to welcome you all to AIM Academy of Science and Technology, public charter school. This is our second year as a public charter school. We're serving 6 through 12. We started with 6 through 9 last year, and now serving 6 through 10. The model of the school is very unique and uniquely designed for the community needs here. In a school model, we call 3 frames of success. The first frame is to focus on STEM education, because we believe STEM education can be an empowering tool for our younger generation. The second pillar is to provide what we call culturally responsive mentorship, providing role models and people who understand them and care about them and value who they are. And the third pillar is to create what we call curricular connection with businesses and STEM industries in the local area, because we know there are a lot of STEM industries and businesses that are available, and we want to make sure that our students are ready to get into the workforce as soon as they finish high school, and college to be an option, not necessarily a way to find their living. So that's what the work we're doing. I'm so happy that the governor is here today in a school setting, and I want to thank the Somali American Coalition, who have put together this program and this event and chose to host in a building that's owned by the Somali community. Yes, thank you very much. This building is built by the $100 and $50 gathered from the moms who are working at night shift and morning shift. So this is a unique gathering. It's a unique start for the great leadership work of Hassan and Nimco and Brother Wardere and the rest of the team. Congratulations for the work you're doing. It's just the beginning, and we're hoping that we will get there together, and we will do a lot of work for our community. Finally, I want to acknowledge the teachers who are here today, a good number of them. I also want to acknowledge the leadership of our student council. The president and his team are here. And welcome everyone, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Doctor. Once again, I'm Imam Hassan Jama. I'm a SAC team member. I'm a Minnesota-based imam and community organizer. For the last 20 years, I was working with the organizations as a board member, as executive director, and advocate for social and economic justice. Welcome Governor Tim Walts and Lieutenant Governor Becky Flanagan. We are honored to have you here with us today, and we hope that your visit will provide you with valuable insight into the needs and aspirations of our community. We are honored to introduce the Somali American Coalition, SAC, a newly formed grassroots organization with mission to promote democracy and racial, social, and economic justice for Somali community in Minnesota. Through community engagement and coalition building, we aim to build a diverse coalition of power for Somali community of Minnesota. As you may already know, our top priorities this legislative session are focused on addressing 6 main issues within and beyond the Somali American community: the opioid epidemic and the mental health, workforce and economic development, housing and homelessness, and shelters, community shelter, home care for children and adults, and education equality. We believe that by working together, with your support, we can make progress to these critical issues and improve the lives of all Minnesotans. Thank you for your commitment to the public service, and we look forward to have a productive conversation. Now, we have a great team who put together this beautiful event, Somali American Coalition. I will, if I get a time, I will recognize at the end of the program, but I would like to call now Nimko Ahmed, a leader of our community, who can talk about why we're here today and who we are, and to give us the insightful about Somali American Coalition.
Kusoo dhawaada gacmo furan. We welcome you with open arms. I am Nimco Ahmed, as the Sheikh said. I've worked with the Somali community in many different capacities, but the one that I'm mostly proud of is being a community organizer. And now I even have a better title, and that is being the mother to my 4 beautiful children. My oldest is Nasib, I have Neiruz, I have Nagad, and my last born is Magan. Governor Tim Walts, father to Hope and Gus. Lieutenant Beggy Flanagan, better known as Siobhan's mom, we welcome you to our first town hall meeting. I mentioned our children for a reason, because we came together today to talk about our children, their future, and our livelihood. Allow me to tell you about my journey and the hosting organization of this event. Last 1.5 years, my family was tested. By having a premature baby at 23 weeks, my baby had to go under 2 brain surgeries, later was diagnosed with liver cancer, and he had to go through 5 rounds of chemotherapy at 0 age. It didn't end there. He still had to have a liver transplant. And this winter, it's even got harder for us because my baby was immune suppressed. He was getting an infection and a virus every week. With all of that, you would think I didn't have time to reflect, but yes, I did. I knew my baby and I were grateful to call this Minnesota our home. For my baby to have a great health care and a greater even healthcare system is by no mistake. I'm not saying our state is perfect, but I believe in choosing the right leaders who care is a key. September last year, I knew the election was approaching, and knowing that I am an organizer, I had to know what's happening. I knew some of our state offices might not win, and that hit home for me. So I remember looking at my little one in the hospital and telling him, Magan, you are in great hands, but mommy has to go and do what she knows best, which is organize. I knew we couldn't afford losing any of our state leaders. We needed them. We needed them to continue the work they started for children like my baby. So think for a second. Just imagine leaving your sick child every day in the hospital to door knock, to organize a press conference, not for money, for free. On the other hand, as a volunteer. I don't think anyone could pay me enough to leave my baby's bedside, but I did it, and I did it for my baby. I went on to door knock every day with canvassers that we hired, with money that we have raised with other partners. But let me be honest, it was not easy because our voters were angry. They said, you come to us weeks before the election and you never come back. I'm not gonna lie, I've heard that a lot of times. But this time, it hit home for me. So I said to myself and to the other leaders that we need to come together after the election, win or lose. So we did, and we didn't wait for long. Somali elected officials, Somali leaders, we came together the first Saturday after the elections, and we said we need to do better for our community. 7 of us were selected from the group to come up with a plan. It was hard. It was frustrating, and we didn't know what to do. But being an organizer, I said, maybe I can help. So I reached out to 2 of my friends, my friend Paku Heng and my friend Patrick Ness, and I said, come and do a half-a-day training session for my community and lead us in the right direction. And they did. Thanks to my friend Paku and Patrick, we now have a 501c3 and a 501c4 that will build power for this community. And yes, alhamdulillah, thank God, my baby is doing great. He's been home for the last 1 month and a half, and we won big in our state. We now have the House, the Senate, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the state auditor, and the secretary of state. So it is an honor to speak to you tonight as the board chair of the newly formed organization named Somali American Coalition, which is the 501c4. Somali American Coalition, known as ZAC, is a grassroots organization working to build power for the Somali community in Minnesota. Somali American Coalition will work on a wide range of issues, from access to education, housing, healthcare, employment, and economic empowerment, and public education. Public safety, I apologize. In addition, we also will provide cultural and language support for new immigrant refugees. It is a community-based organization that will provide civic education and advocacy in order to promote the welfare of the Somali community in Minnesota. We as Somalis say, wada hadal ayaa wax badan hagaajin kara, which means conversations or meetings such as this one bring many changes. The Somali American Coalition will ensure that the voices of our community are heard and that we are part of the decision making in our state. Our goal is to promote social justice, and we are against all forms of discrimination. We are looking for a better understanding of our communities through strategic alliance, community organization, and increased awareness. We will work with others on projects and initiatives to ensure equal access to resources. We will also ensure that the rights of our community are respected while working on the needs of our members, such as access to healthcare and shelter. While working for the future of our community, we will work to empower Somali Minnesotans to ensure that they have the education and the skills they need to be successful and to make a difference in their communities. Somali American Coalition is not a service organization, but rather an advocacy organization. We hope that you will all join us in supporting the Somali American Coalition's mission to build power for the Somalis in Minnesota. Our slogan is Iskaashato Makufto, which means coalitions don't fail, and we plan on not failing. Lastly, I will leave you with this. Waxaan hiigsanayno waa macquul, which means our aim is reasonable. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hi everyone. I would like to say good evening with Team Governor and Lieutenant and rest of our community. Many of you know me as a businesswoman in Somali community. I own business where Cedar Riverside for 17 years. I'm also a mother for 4 children. I have 2 grown-up children and 2 young ones. My firstborn, my only son, was 17 years when we had an issue with opioid in our household. And I have 2 things combined at one time, me being a public mom and also have a youth that who's done everyone else just committing something like they saw something not right. My son was doing it, he was there, he was kind of there. For the stigma and dealing with opioid was 2 things. And waiting for him the nighttime, and when I get to know what is it, fentanyl, I get to know through him because I sat with him and I ask him every question that's possible. And when I noticed that was fentanyl, the things that we are dealing, I find out, I research, I went everywhere. And the stigma was the worst than the dealing with the opioid also. So the hardest thing was waiting your child nighttime when you know one of his friends just passed away last week or this week, and waiting the call whether he's overdosed somewhere or get killed was the hardest thing. The second thing was doing the right thing for the other children in the household, taking them to the school and going to the work. And maybe when you start your shift, someone is going to come and say, oh, what happened to your son? He used to be a bright kid. What did you do wrong? Why is he doing drugs? So facing that makes me hate the opioid plus the stigma. And one time I tried to do a movement in Cedar Riverside. I think I met you before. When I tried to step out my comfort zone is when I met everyone was dealing among the community and no one was talking about. And talking about publicly opioid give me another power to deal or to help my son. I start to do research, look everywhere, find some other organization that who's doing the help or finding a solution on their community. So speaking about openly helped me and make me a better person and to be strong. And as a business, I did a lot of thinking what to do, but instead of thinking and doing everything, I recently come an opportunity around the neighborhood where there was a building for sale, and I sold that building. It has one thing in my professional. It's only going to be a commercial kitchen, but I will dedicate to be a public-private organization or public-private building where my community can benefit, whether we have a clinic or to have a space for youth sit or to have a public bathroom for them around the neighborhood. We will do it together, and also we need government to help that. But most of the things that if I did by myself with the family and the friend and the other people that are surrounding me to help me to purchase that building, I think if the whole community come together, we can have some solution for our youth to start in the area where all the youth, when they think to do something in drugs, they will come to Cedar. And to have a place for Cedar will at least reduce the amount of the death of our youth. Thank you so much.
Hello, how you guys doing? Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdurrahman Warsame. For those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, thank you guys so much for coming here. I'm here to tell you guys a little bit about myself. I am a person who is in long-term recovery. I am 3.5 years sober. I'll be 4 years on June 16th. We as a Somali community and as a community as a whole are facing an epidemic that is raging everywhere. I myself have lost over a dozen friends, family members, people in my community. It's countless. Me and my friends, we started an organization in 2019 to raise awareness and advocate for addiction and recovery in our community because we realized how many people were dying and how little people were talking about it. It was something that was scraped down under the wall, under the rug. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And the reason why was because of stigma. It was because nobody felt like it was something worth speaking about. We have such a shame culture in our community, and so many people have died because of it. I know countless mothers who wake up, and fathers wake up in the morning to find their child dead because they don't know what Narcan is. I know so many parents whose kids have overdosed and they don't know what fentanyl is. They don't understand it. They don't know how to approach it. They don't know how to deal with it. We as a Somali community have faced a disparity in resources over the years because we don't know where to go. Over the past few years, we have been acting as a building bridges resource for the community, where every day somebody's calling me, whether it's a mom, whether it's somebody struggling with addiction, somebody that's struggling with recovery, because they don't know where to go. They honestly don't know where to go, whether it's a clinic, whether it's a treatment center, whether it's a detox center, and we don't have culturally appropriate services. We don't have services that are specific to them. I myself, when I went through addiction, right, I didn't know where to go. I never went through something that was traditional treatment service. I just left. I dealt with addiction cold turkey and went through horrible withdrawals for weeks on end because I didn't know what to do. My mom did not know what to do. And it continued. And throughout that year I was gone, I lost so many friends. Every day I would get a phone call. I would have to put my phone on ringer at night because I was scared that I would get a phone call that a friend had died or a family member had died. And back and forth, I would go between Texas and Minneapolis every month to go because of a janazah, which is a funeral service. And it continued, and it continued. And over time, what we realized was that the reason why nobody is getting help is because nobody wants to talk about it. People are uneducated. People don't know where to go. And it continues, and it continues, and it continues. Right now, if somebody were to die and they're African American and they're Somali, they get listed as one. People don't know how many people are dying, how bad it is. If I speak to somebody right now in the community and say that this is a problem, I have no way to tell them that this is a problem. And for myself, it's been something it's so conflicting because I'm in recovery myself. And our community is struggling so bad. We have no resources in our community. No resources. And we are urging the government, we are urging you guys to support us because I know so many people right now. I go to the funeral, I go to the graveyard, and it takes me at least an hour to round around all my friends and family members that have died from this. And it's going to continue unless we receive support and we come together to work on this issue. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdurrahman Mukhtar. Governor Walts and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, welcome to AIM School. Congratulations again for your re-election and your brave agenda. I'll keep it brief. I've done youth work over 20 years. 2018, when I have seen all the synthetic drugs on the streets. At that time when I left my direct youth service work, I started a street outreach initiative. For the past 4 years, every Friday you can find me in City Riverside, working with young people who are dealing with substance abuse, addiction, and homelessness. A lot of times, our community members really are not aware of. We have so many young people, young adults who are homeless and unhoused. That's not how they consider themselves. You may be aware of the largest incumbent, the Mindat City Riverside incumbent that was closed down about 2 months ago. 50% of the residents there were East African, Somali mainly, young adults, both male and females. And because of that issue, The only thing I really would like to say is that I know you have the One Minnesota plan agenda. You also, as a governor, you want Minnesota to be the best state for every kid in the United States. And I want to encourage you, please keep in mind, include our kids in that. Because a lot of times, because of the stigma, because of the shaming, because of the language barrier, because of the lack of resources, the main reason I found the real youth, the main reason I'm on the street every day is to make sure that young people have a trusted adult who cares about them. And then because of my passion, when I see someone like Abdurrahman, who went through this, he used to be in my after-school programs, and now he's making a difference, that's a true leadership. And I want to make sure that we support people like Abdurrahman and community members so they can make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and distinguished guests and fellow Minnesotans. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amina Aden. I'm a proud product of a charter schools in Minnesota, a parent of children who attend charter school, and a school leader of a charter school. Today I would like to discuss the importance of charter schools and the challenges that minorities are facing in Minnesota charter schools. Specifically, I would like to use the equity tools, the need for preschool to be open to all charter schools, the importance of growing teachers from our community with the focus on minority teachers in STEM education. As a proud product of charter schools, I know firsthand the positive impact that the schools can have on students who may not thrive in traditional public schools. Charter schools have given me unique educational opportunities that helped me achieve this leadership and success like many other graduates like me. However, as a parent of children who attend charter school and a school leader, I'm aware of the challenges that charter schools face. One of the most pressing issues facing charter schools in Minnesota is the lack of funding. This can make it difficult for these schools to provide the resources and support needed to meet the unique needs of their students, particularly those from minority backgrounds. Additionally, because charter schools have fewer resources, they often face the challenges in attracting and retaining high-quality teachers, particularly those with experience or advanced degrees. These challenges can further exacerbate the achievement gap or opportunity gap between the white students and students of color, as research has shown that teachers is the key factor in providing and improving academic outcomes for students of color. To address these challenges, we must use equity tools to ensure that all students have access to high-quality education. Equity tools can help identify and address the structural and institutional barriers that may prevent students from accessing educational opportunities. It is crucial that we use these tools to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have the resources and students they need to succeed. Additionally, we must work to ensure that preschool is open to all charter schools. Everyone knows that education does not start at 5 years old. Teachers see the difference in classrooms, the struggle of teaching a 5-year-old child classroom etiquette. Early childhood education is critical to ensuring that all children have a strong foundation for future academic success. However, many charter schools do not have access to preschool programs, which can create a disadvantage for their students. It is crucial that we work to ensure that all charter schools have access to high-quality preschool programs. Furthermore, we must prioritize growing teachers from our community to combat the cultural barriers to education. By recruiting and retaining more teachers from our community, we can help create a more culturally responsive and supportive educational environment for all students. Finally, we must focus on increasing access to STEM education for minority teachers. STEM education is critical to preparing students for the jobs of the future, but many minority teachers do not have access to high-quality STEM programs. By prioritizing STEM education for our educators and providing resources and supporting for minority teachers, we can help ensure that all students have equal access to opportunities that STEM education provides. In conclusion, charter schools are essential to the success of our students in our community, and charter schools play an important role in providing educational opportunities to students who may not thrive in a traditional public school. By using equity tools and ensuring that preschool is open to all charter schools, growing teachers from our community, and focus on increasing access to STEM education for Somali students, we can create a more equitable, supportive educational environment for all students. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone, my name is Yasser Wardere. I want to thank the Governor and Lieutenant Governor for coming today, and the Somali leaders for allowing me to speak today. It means a lot more than you know. The Somali American Coalition Action Fund's top priorities this legislative session are focused on addressing 6 main issues. Those 6 main issues are within and beyond the Somali American community, which include the opioid epidemic and mental health, workforce and economic development, housing, homelessness, and community shelters, home care for children and adults, as well as education and equity. In 2021, Minnesota witnessed a staggering 978 opioid overdose deaths, and it affected our community deeply. To address the epidemic, our asks include allocating a portion of the opioid settlement funds received by the state toward the Somali community, raising awareness about opioid addiction, including members of the communities of color in the expansion of ORAC, funding for the research using disaggregated data on the Somali community, funding culturally appropriate treatment and support to allow Somali to overcome addiction and lead healthy, productive lives. With homelessness, the Somali immigrant community is facing a significant problem with homelessness. Our asks include conducting a comprehensive studies on Somali homelessness with a focus on Somali youth and those battling opioid addiction. Investments in community culturally appropriate shelters serving as temporary housing, as well as interest-free financing for Muslim home buyers. For education equity, our asks for these disparities include increased cultural training for staff, bilingual opportunities and accommodations for students, increased funding for English language learning ELL programs to support Teachers of Color Act, as well as funding for investing in after-school community learning programs. With workforce and economic development, to sustain this progress, we ask for protections for Uber drivers and others related to minimum compensation, insurance, and other protections. Funding for Somali organizations such as Isuron and the Somali Museum in Minnesota, as well as the African Economic Development Solutions Grant. Allocating current and future bonding funds to investments into the Somali community for economic and workforce development. These are really important issues in our community, and I'm glad you're here today to hear that. And now I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Ikaran, who will continue to speak about our top legislative priorities.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will try to be very brief, as time is really not on our side, as Sheikh Hassan said. Just wanted to continue on, as our sister had mentioned, that investing in the Somali community, especially in the entrepreneurs in the business world, is really important to get this community where it needs to go. So one of our asks under that umbrella of the home care and children's and adults is that we're asking, and hopefully this is not going to be an ask that's going to be a lip service. It's something that this organization is going to hold us accountable, and we will hold our elected officials accountable as well to make sure that these are followed through. One of our asks for this is that increasing reimbursement for our PCA services. That is a very crucial and important role that our PCAs that play in the community-based services, which is very important for our community and our special, elderlies, that we care for them at home. To increase community first service and support payment rates, and eliminating racial disparities, which is the crucial of asking this community and the businesses that we really need to get have those proven and examined. And regulating and police to make sure that there is a fair and fair treatment of the Somali providers, and make sure that they are not unnecessarily being looked at under the microscope, that we are treated fairly across the board.
Thank you, Dr. Akram. Governor and Lieutenant Governor, welcome to our community. Today we have all this, you don't have to take notes. You have everything that we've been saying, you have in the package. So we're good to go with that. And also, I want to say that it's the first time we see in our community for the governor and the Latino governor to be here. So this is great for both of you to show up, and that shows the interest and the willingness that you bring in to work with the community. And just to summarize, we have also a lot of our community members here today. We have actually elected officials, so my elected official in the back, school director of Minneapolis, Abdul Abdi. And we have two other first time we have two Somali Minneapolis elected officials for the school board members, and also we want to thank you for your leadership to reappoint Abdul Rashid to the assistant commissioner. Just as I saw on the news, Abdullah Muhammad, yes, my bad, I have it here. So, and I just want to summarize that. Like, everything you heard tonight is really the community is willing to work with you. And we want to be with you. We have more than hundreds of Somalis here, but we want to do the work with you. And we need a leadership that is working with you and not just leave you the work doing by yourself. So thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I apologize if I did not give you time and you're supposed to speak, but I would like to recognize our great Sheikh, our Mufti, Sheikh Abdurrahman, Dr. Sheikh Abdurrahman, Sheikh Umar. Can you please stand up? Also, I want to recognize Sheikh Noor Hadi, our great leader in our community. Can you please stand up? We have many leaders here. Sheikh Yusuf Abdullah, can you please stand up? Ayana, Executive Director, and many more, So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We have faith leaders, we have business community, we have a number of organizations, we have everybody here. This is the event only, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Please welcome with me our Lieutenant Governor, David Flanagan, to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you, and you kept us on time. So thank you for that. Mostly, it's okay. We're just really happy to be here. NIMCO, you are the best organizer that I know. And anything that you're a part of, I'll be there. And I'm a part of, that's right. I'm so just hopeful by the agenda that you laid out, because I hope you can see that is also our agenda. There are so many things here that overlap with the budget that we have put out. And I hope that you can see that you're reflected in a lot of the things that we've been working on. There's specific asks here, and I appreciate all of the information. And I appreciate all of the specific bill numbers as well, because now the governor and I can go back, we can review these with our policy team, and we know that we have partners who are ready to work with us on this. The Somali American Coalition, I know that you're ready to work. Clearly, in putting together this meeting, the testimonies, the stories, we are eager to continue to do this work with you. I want to say just a couple of things about the opioid epidemic. One of the things that brings me a lot of joy, but also a lot of heartache, is that the Native American community and the Somali community have a lot of similarities. We care for our children, we care for our elders. Most of our gatherings center around food and community. But one of the other things that we both struggle with is opioid addiction. And it is taking the lives of too many of our young people. And brother, I am proud of you, and I am grateful that you are willing to tell your story, because it matters. It is brave, and will make a difference. It already has. So we have put out our initial budget, but you can expect in our supplemental budget that there also will be dollars that are targeted specifically to culturally relevant treatment and care. And this is a real opportunity for us to work together. the disaggregation of data as it relates to education and to our relatives, we call them relatives when we talk about this in our community, our relatives experiencing homelessness. I serve as the chair of the Interagency Council to End Homelessness. This is something I will bring back immediately for us to start looking at that disaggregation of data. I hope that you will be partners in us in working on that important issue. And of course, housing, we're all the way there. We have gone big, $1.5 billion in proposals from our relatives experiencing homelessness all the way to first-time home buyers, and we have heard you with a need for multifamily housing as well. It's a priority for the governor and for myself. And then I will just say, when it comes to education and making sure that our teachers look like the children that they are teaching, that has long time been a priority for us. Recruiting, retaining educators as well, and I'm grateful to be in a school, in a charter school today with you as well. And you can expect, we have gone big with equity in bonding. It's been a priority for the governor and myself. We have set aside $200 million to go directly to organizations that serve communities of color, immigrant communities, Native communities, because we know how to spend that money best and invest in the things that our communities need. So we need your help in getting that over the finish line. But there are many things that we share, and I look forward to ongoing conversations with all of you and this partnership. Gichi Miigwech, thank you so much, in Ojibwe, for having me here today. I'm just grateful for this opportunity and excited for the work of the fund, of the C3 and the C4, and the good work that we can do together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thanks for the commitment. Please give a hand one more time, Lieutenant Governor. I want to recognize, before I call the governor, our elder, Gudomiya Duale. Can you please stand up? The head of all the regional states in Somalia. He's the representing 5 regional states. Thank you for coming. Please welcome with me our governor, Tim Walts, who will remember how he led the pandemic and George Floyd time. Now we're expecting more. Governor, you have heard what we said, our ask, and now it's your time. Welcome.
Thank you, my friend. Well, thank you so very much. Thank you for hosting us in this wonderful space. There's no better place than a school, and so thank you for that. And to our newest organization, thank you. And it's after the election and we're back, and I get the feeling from NIMCO we will be back again and again and again, because that's what's expected. Look, you did this just right. This is the way this is supposed to work. The last thing you need from me is to hear more talk. What you need is action and results. I think we understand that. Listening to the community, I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you for sharing and thank you for trusting us with the stories. These are hard. You heard the Imam say it. In all his experience, he said these are the most difficult times he's been upon. So we have a state government that has more resources than any time in our history. We have the will and the opportunity of people who understand they want to address these issues at this moment. So I think the fierce sense of urgency you're hearing around the opioid crisis, around education and opportunity, about home ownership and creating wealth in the community, those are real. You're not looking for next generation solutions. And when I look at this vision statement and see what's down here on the bottom, this is not a wish list. This is a demand of what you should expect to experience as a Minnesotan if we're going to talk about that. And again, I think the measuring stick on this is, and when you look and see it, I'm grateful that my young children were mentioned, a high school sophomore at Central High School in St. Paul and a college senior. You have to have the expectations and know that your children are afforded the same opportunity as my children. And until that day comes, we truly aren't getting towards one Minnesota. We can't have 2 or 3 or 4 different Minnesotans where some voices are heard and some are not, where allocations of funding and expectations of results. I heard it time and time and here again, disaggregate the data. We are not a monolithic community, and if we want to get at solutions, community knows about solutions, so disaggregate that data and let us see. So there's individual asks on here and things to go through. Lieutenant Governor is right. of addressing where some of these is. We go back with our team. We have a supplemental budget. This is where we need your help, because the executive branch does not have the authority over appropriating money, but what we do have is a big microphone and what I would argue the will of the people to ask us to get this work done. So the timing is right. The things that you asked for in this legislative session, much of the groundwork can be done and finished and implemented and impacting community before summer comes to Minnesota. That sense of urgency you're feeling, that sense of funding around equity and bonding, that sense of having a voice in addressing the opioid crisis, all of us in this room know. By next week, we will add to those numbers. By next week, another family will have that loss. So this sense of elevating the issues as you've done tonight, we hear you. So my commitment to you is, as we said before, is to work that every child and every family has a chance to thrive in Minnesota like no place else in the country. An opportunity to address systemic gaps that are in our state. A recognition that systemic racial issues have held communities back. A recognition that we can make access to culturally appropriate funding and down payment assistance so that folks can own homes, because all of us know here, if we can own homes and generate generational wealth, everything changes for our children. Everything changes. And then we start hearing more stories like this. We're in our space that our community owns, that our community leads, that our community paid for. And I just think we all need to acknowledge it every single time we get the opportunity to gather. Minnesota is a better place because Somalians chose to live here. We are stronger because of it. And again, as often as we can echo that, and as often as we can make sure our actions are reflecting that, and often as we can seed that entrepreneurial spirit and that sense of caring for our children, we will see that continue to go up. And let's be very clear. If Somali children are doing well, other children are doing well. That's what we know. So I want to just say thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to spend some time. But again, I will reiterate and understand very clearly what Nimco said is it's not good enough to show up just around election time. It's not good enough to just have a set of proposals. We need to be measuring results and seeing them in action in our communities. And I will go back and end where the imam was. These are some of the most difficult times. So let's make sure that those difficult times forced us into action to make them some of the best times that follow it. So Imam, thank you for that. Thank each of you.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. magacaygu waa Cabdullaahi Xasan Carte. waxaan ka mid ahay guddigan ZAC markii la soo gaabiyo Somali American Coalition Action Fund. waa runtii barnaamij aad iyo aad u fiicnaa oo shaqo badan iyo waqti badan la geliyey oo u adeegi doona bulshaweyntan Soomaaliyeed gaar ahaan middan maaragtay Twin Citieska iyo adigu Minnesota guud ahaanteedaba. marka runtii waxay ahayd arrin aad iyo aad taariikhi ah. ma dhicin fi taariikh Soomaalidu inay iskugu timaado halkan ama ay inta wax qaabiso ay loo yeero gabanaha magaaladan Minnesota ama state-ka Minnesota loo yeero iyo ku-xigeenkiisa oo gabar ah oo ma aragtaa ay dhageystaan barnaamij ay Soomaalida iska leedahay runtii. barnaamijkan wuxuu ku yimid doorashadii markay dhacday kadib 2022 bishii November ahayd. waxa aan ka baranay taariikh ama ma way arag aan u noqonay in aan tan sunnimaadna wax samaysana anaga aan iska leenahay si aan danaheena aan ugula gargortano xagga state-ka iyo xagga ma aragtaa city-ga iyo meel kasta waxay naga jiraanba. marka shir la iskugu yimid sanadkii hore dadka ama la soo doortay oo Soomaalida ah iyo dadka caqliga oo saaxiibka ee dheergaradka meel iskugu yimid waxaa la soo saaray dad 7 ruux ah 7 ruux baa waxa la yiri ka soo shaqeeya barnaamijka sidii Soomaalida ay u noqon lahayd dad iskugu yimid oo ma aragtaayo wax qabsada barnaamijku wuxuu dhalay barnaamijka aad aragtaan maanta runtii waa wax aad iyo aad loogu farxa Soomaalidana inay ma aragtaayo ay wax ay qabsan karto ay ma aragtaa cadaatay marka waxaan rabnaa sidii ummadda u noolaato inaan u noolaano ama caalamku u shaqeeyaan rabnaa hadduu alleedmo waxaan rabnaa hadduu alleedmo inaan la shaqeyno ama aan la xisaabtanno ama aan ummaddeennana si gaar ahaaneed aan u farno ama fariin aan u gaarsiino sidii ay ma aragtaayo ay waxyaalaha looga baahan yahay inuu qofka doorto iyo qofkii la dooran lahaa iyo ma aragtaa wax la yiraahdo vetting inaan ku sameeyno hadduu alleedmo
bismillaah alxamdulillaah ثم الصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين maanta halkan waxaa ka dhacay shir weyn oo uu soo qaban qaabiyay urur cusub oo Minnesota laga daahfuray magaciisana la yiraahdo Somali American Coalition SAC ururkaas oo laba qaybooda qayb ka shaqeynaya arrimaha bulshada policy reform sharciga in wax laga qabto community-ga in dhaqaale loo helo community-ga dhibaatooyinkiisa in aqalka looga taliyo gobolka Minnesota state capitalka iyo governor's office la geeyo budget in loo helo iyo qayb kale oo ah political ama arrimaha dhinaca siyaasadda laana go'aanada siyaasadda iyo dadka la doortay isku xiran yihiin team fiican oo ilaa 20 qof gaaraya oo aqoon-yahana culimo dhaqaatiir siyaasiyiin ganacsato dad wax bartay ay ku jiraan ayaa ururkan runtii sabab u ahaa in la sameeyo bilihii la soo dhaafay baa laga shaqeynayay mar walba community-geena gaar ahaan Minnesota aad baa loo codeeyaa community-gan waxay dareemayaan inaan dib wax ugu soo noqonin waxaan xoog saaray marka arrimaha ugu muhiimsan ee community-ga haysta sida opioid-ka ama daraagadii kaniiniyada carruurta ay ku baaba'ayaan in dhaqaale loo helo in sharciyada wax laga bedelo in dhaqaale u qalma Soomaalida iyo service-ka ay bixinayaan oo dhaqankeena iyo diinteena waafaqsan la helo qodob aad muhiim u ahaa in ganacsatada Soomaaliyeed dhaqaale loo helo boolisiyada iyo sharciyada laga khafiifiyo housing-ka iyo guryaha in guryo waaweyn oo dadku ay kiradooda awoodaan la helo iyo dayn aan riba lahayn dadka guryaha gadanaya in la siiyo dadka homelessness-ka ama guryo la'aanta ku dhacday in xarumo iyo shelter temporary ama meel la dejiyo intay guri ka helayaan in loo helo arrimo waaweyn ayaa waxa uu istaagay organization-kan anigu waxaan ahay gudoomiyaha qaybta u istaagtay danaha ummadda Soomaaliyeed ee Minnesota iyo Mareykankaba inay ka hadasho qaybta kaleeto oo dhinaca siyaasadana waxaa madax ka nimco governorka iyo ku-xigeenkiisa ayaan u yeeray inaan la wadaagno baahidayada waxaan qoray sanadkan 6 qodob oo aan ku darsanay budgetka iyo miisaaniyadda gobolkan gacantaan ka gelinay sida aad arkayseen hortiisa ayaa laga akhriyay waxaana noo bilowday xiriir iyo kulamo joogta waxaan rajaynaynaa inuu u noqdo sanadkan Soomaalida gobolka Minnesota mid ay helaan xuquuqdooda iyo waxyaabo fara badan oo baahidooda khaaska ay wax uga qabtaan salaamu alaykum
waxaa laga hadlayay danaha guud ee Soomaaliyeed aniga waxaan ka mid ahaa dadkii sida gaarka ahaa uga hadlay danaha gaarka ah oo opioid-ka community-geena in muddo ahna waxaan ku dhex jiray ama aan la dhiilgareynaynay wuxuu ahaa opioid crisis ilmaheena Soomaaliyeed general aad bay ugu dhibaataysan yihiin markii ay joogiska bilaabeen markii hore ma aynaan lahaan jirin ilmo badan oo Soomaaliya oo banaanka taagan laakiin hadda generation dhan oo banaanka taagan aan haysanaa inta dhimatay Allah u naxariisto in badan anaga dhimatay inta noolna hadda waxay ku nool yihiin nolol aan aad u dhibaato badan homeless-ka magaalada 50% ay ka noqdeen waxaan keenayay sabab ahaan family-gii oo xamili waayay qofka markuu addiction iyo dabeecadihiisa ay isbedelaan iyo iyagii oo daroogo cabideeda ama joyska ay qaateen daraadiis iyo ama laga yaabo inay maskaxiyanba u xanuunsan yihiin banaanka taagan oo ku jira inay wax hadaan inay wax dhacaan mar walbana aad arkaysid cunug Soomaali ah ama dhibaataysan ama dhaxamaysan ama gaajaysan marka aniga waxaan maqaayad ku leeyahay Cedar area-deeda ilmaha aan arko ugu badan oo ama dadka dhibaataysan arko ugu badan waa ilmaha Soomaalida marka arintaas hadii maanta Ilaahay wax nooga hirgeliyo governorka kulay waa u sheegnay cabashooyinkeena iyo wax aan u baahanahay assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullahi
waxa maanta halkan aan ku qabanay kulan muhiim ah oo ka soo qayb galay gobernatoraha gobolka Minnesota Tim Walts oo u yimid inuu booqdo oo uu dhageysto bulshada Soomaaliyeed runtiina si wanaagsan ayaa loo soo bandhigay bulshada Soomaaliyeed iyo baahiyaha ay qabto ay u baahan tahay waxaan rajaynaynaa insha Allah tacaala inay sida ugu dhaqsaha badan wax uga qabtaan waxaan rabaa inaan u mahadceliyo organization-ka soo organize gareeyay Sheekh Xasan iyo Nimco iyo Maxamed Wardheere iyo teamka hawshan ka soo diyaariyay Somali American Coalition oo runtii shaqo fiican qabtay waxaan rajaynaynaa inaan maaragtay aan midnimada aan muujinay iyo gacmooda jira wax lagu gooyay community-geena ay soo tagaan waxaan anagu hadii aan nahay bahda AIM Academy waxaanu guddoonsiinay maanta hadiyad dhiil oo ka turjumaysay dhaqanka Soomaaliyeed governorkuna aad iyo aad buu ugu farxay waxaana guddoonsiiyay presidentiga madaxweynaha ururka ardayda iskuulka AIM Academy waxaan rajaynaynaa in ay noqoto artifact ama hadiyad la dhigo xafiiska governorka. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.